A very beautiful morning to the diligent team of the College of the Kenyans from United States, and a delightful evening to the enthusiastic staff members and career-oriented students of St. Xavier's College from our neighboring country, Nepal. I, Afsha Aziz, along with my colleague Ms. Nupur Anand, would like to welcome you all to this informative and interactive session with College of the Kenyans, which is located in California, USA. College of the Kenyans has a proven history of gauging the students who aspire to be enrolled in highly ranked universities in the United States to the required level. They have laid a foundation pathway to those students in achieving their goals. Before commencing the session, let me avail the opportunity to introduce all the esteemed panelists that we have today among us. So, from the College of the Kenyans, we have Dr. Jai Cheng Levin, Dean International Affairs and Global Engagement. Good morning, Dr. Jai.
Good morning.
We have Mr. Tim Honedel, Director, International Student Program. Good morning, Mr. Tim.
Good morning, everybody.
From St. Xavier's College, Maitighar, Nepal, we have Ms. Saluja Chand, Dean of Women Counselor. Good evening, Ms. Saluja.
Good evening, everyone.
And we have Ms. Pragati Karki, who is a guidance counselor. So it is a privilege to be here for this session. And I would like to request all my dear students to keep typing their questions in the question box so that we can get to know about their queries, and we will be answering their questions soon. So I would like to take the opportunity to invite Mr. Tim Honedel so that he can start with the presentation. Over to you, Mr. Tim Honedel. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much. What a pleasure and privilege to be here today talking to you, because in the world of higher education, there's so much happening and a lot of confusion. So we're going to straighten all that out today, and we're going to create hope and opportunity. So community college is probably not what you think. So in today's exploration of your possible academic future, we're going to use the word community college a lot. It's an old term, and it represents something which partially exists today, but has definitely been modernized. So I have 200 international students at my school. There are 30,000 total students at my school, and we have about 20 people to help those 200 students. So we have a lot of help for the 200 students. Now, we have lots of students from India at our school, but very few students that are actually on study visa. Most of those Indian students are part of our community, and they're the doctors and lawyers and engineers and teachers in our community. I want to point out where we're located so you can kind of get an idea in your mind about where College of the Canyons is. And so if you look at that map, that's the map of the United States. And over there where it's marked, that's a place called the Santa Clarita Valley. It's in Southern California. It's a dry, warm climate, beautiful weather. And the Santa Clarita Valley is a small community of about 300,000 people. And the whole community, the whole valley, is designed to be a school community. So all the schools in our community, for all the 300,000 people, those are all excellent communities. Here's a few pictures. The pictures are of the school. They're pictures of where I go bike riding. There's pictures of where I live. And so this is, you know, just something for you to look at. We will be sending, and we have lots of pictures and videos of our school so that you can get an idea of how everything looks. So the main concept we're going to talk about today is called 2 plus 2. So where does 2 plus 2 come from? Well, in the United States, it takes 4 years of study to get a bachelor's degree. So if you look at this map, you can see where you are is in the secondary schools and the high schools. And the next step is a bachelor's degree. And you can do all 4 in the bachelor's degree. Or if you look a little bit to the left, you can see it's split in 2 between associate degree and bachelor's degree. And that's where the 2 + 2 comes from. So that 2 + 2 is that area right there. And all it really means is that the first 2 years of study, you do at College of the Canyons. And the second 2 years of the total 4 years, you move to another school, and that's where you get your diploma. And that school can be anywhere in the United States, any school. The reason is because those first 2 years are pretty much exactly the same, no matter what school you go to. And so some schools are designed to support the student through those first 2 years because international students have extra challenges. They're far from home, they're far from friends, they're far from family. And so this is an opportunity at a college like mine to really get the support you need to set yourself onto that trajectory of academic success. So you can see here that the 2 + 2 is made up of these 4 sections: freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And the freshman and sophomore is pretty much the same at every school in the country. So you don't have to go to Berkeley to do the first 2 years, or to Stanford, or to UCLA. You can go to College of the Canyons. And we're going to talk about why you'd want to do that and why millions of students are doing that across the country now with community colleges. I want to point out that the second 2 years, that's where you take all the classes that are in your area of expertise. That's where you study your business, or you study your engineering, or your accounting, or your early childhood education, or whatever you want to study. That's where all those classes are. The first 2 years are where you take all your general education classes, which are required in order to get a bachelor's degree. So you can take them at any school, and then you can transfer to the school that you want your diploma from. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that because I realize that's a very different concept in the entire world than it is in California. Again, you start at College of the Canyons, you do 2 years, you go anywhere else for the other 2. So I think you're getting the idea now. So when I explain this, usually the questions start popping up, but what will I study? And the answer to that is that if you're in California, you will study any subject you want, any major you want. You tell me what you want your diploma to be in, and I'll get you to that school. And so, and you don't have to decide before you get here. You've got 2 years with me to explore and figure it out. So you can study anything in California. All right, I'm going to turn this back over to our hosts for a poll.
Thank you, Tim. So I would like to raise a poll over here. The poll asks you about something. So I would like to ask this. What is the title given to a first-year student in US universities? Student, please start typing your answers.
Very good question.
Pretty fast.
Keep answering, keep answering, keep answering. Oh my God, 100% are saying freshmen.
Wow, we've got some
Okay,
smart
so what is the
students in
title
India.
given? What is the title given to a first-year student in US universities? So we have 100% poll for freshmen. And that's the correct answer. So all the students are very much aware of the programs and the titles of US universities. That's wonderful. They're proactive and quite aware of everything. That's wonderful. Great.
Excellent. So we've talked about what 2+2 is, and we've talked a little bit about what community college is. We're going to review that some more in detail in the next couple of minutes. But the next thing I really want to talk about is the big questions about students. They always want to know these things. Where will I live? What food will I eat? Will I have any friends? You're going to be a long ways from home. You're going to be studying and spending a lot of time doing homework. So you're going to want to know these things. So let's talk about them. So the first one is, where will I live? Well, you know what a dormitory is. You've seen it in the American movies. You know, you go to a dormitory, there's lots of parties. That's not really what college life is in the United States, not at my school. My school is a study school. So you're going to live in one of three places. You're going to either be living with an American family, which is the best thing to do when you first come to the United States, because they're going to help you with meals, how to get around town, how to navigate in the college, all of those things. Another place you can live is you can live in an apartment with your roommates. And that happens usually the second year, the sophomore year. Somebody transfers to Berkeley or MIT and there's an extra bed. And so you move out of the American family and you move into the apartment because you think, wow, now I can play video games whenever I want to. And so you try that for a while. Your third choice is you can stay at home, right where you are now for the first year and do your coursework. So you really have three choices when you do community college. And we'll talk some more about the stay-at-home part a little bit later. But this is where you live. There's not really dorms like you think of dormitories from the movies. This is a study school. You come to this school for the purpose of developing excellent academic skills, and you develop the beginnings of your academic credentials. That's what this school is for. So we talked about where you're going to live. So now let's talk about what you're going to eat, because you think right now that you're not going to miss grandma's dishes, but I have to say, you're going to be eating a lot of American food, pizza and hamburgers, and you need to be careful not to eat too much of them because they're probably not as healthy as the food you've been eating at home. We also have grocery stores, places where there's a beautiful display of all sorts of materials so you can make your own food. And if you're with an American family, usually you'll cook in conjunction with them the recipes that you're used to. You'll get the spices and the instructions, and as a group, you know, on Sunday, you'll get together and you'll make up that special dish, which is one of your favorite foods. The family can't wait to try the new food. You can't wait to get back to something you're familiar with. It works out really well. So I think that's going to be good. You're definitely not going to starve. So we talked about where you're going to live. We talked about what you're going to eat. Let's talk about friends, because you are going a long ways from home. So the way that we do friendship is all those connections that you make at the school. And keep in mind, one of the major reasons why you are doing a study abroad program and leaving everyone behind for a while is to make those connections which are going to serve you well for the rest of your life. Your personal connections and also your professional connections. It'll help your career. It'll help your whole life. Well, we have student clubs, lots of student clubs. Those student clubs are kind of designed like mini corporations. There's a president and a secretary and a treasurer, and then there's projects that get done. There's a budget that has to be managed. Meeting minutes get taken. Robert's Rules of Orders are followed, but they're also a lot of fun because you're hanging out, doing these things and learning these things with a club advisor from the college like me, and with all the students that are in that club. Lots of clubs to choose from. You're going to pick a club. So We've talked about where you're going to live. We've talked about what are you going to eat. And we've talked about, yes, you're going to make lots of friends that matter for the rest of your life. So with that, put on your thinking caps, because again, it is time for another UniBrijj poll.
Thank you, Tim. So I'm coming up with another poll. I'm sure I will be getting a correct answer for this as well. Okay, here it comes. How many total credits are required to complete an undergraduate degree in the USA? And the options are 150, 30, 120. So we have started getting responses to this poll. 13% are saying 150, 27% are saying 30, and 69% are saying 120. I can see the fluctuation in this, the responses of the students now. 5% are saying 150, 15% are saying 30, and 81% are saying 120. Okay, you still have 2 seconds left. Keep answering the question. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Tim, what do you think? Will 100% students be able to answer the correct response?
I think that this is a tough question. It's a tough question because, you know, we want you to focus on your studies and we'll manage the credits. But this is an important thing to understand. And so when we see the results of the poll, we'll see how many people get the right answer.
Okay. So 94% have voted. I am not sure why the rest 6% have not voted. Okay. So now 83% are showing 120, 10% are saying 30, 8% is saying 150.
Good. So let's talk
So
about
the
that for a minute.
poll, yeah.
So
So
30
82% are saying 120.
Yeah. So 30 units, the 30 number, that's how many units constitutes a level like freshman or sophomore or junior or senior. So each level is 30. They can be called credit hours, they could be called units, they could be called course hours. And in some cases, in some places, there's a different setup where you're a quarter system instead of a semester system. There's all these different rules for how to add it up. But basically what it boils down to is you progress from freshman to sophomore, from sophomore to junior, from junior to senior, and then you finish. You're going to need at least 120 semester units or credit hours to complete that bachelor's degree. Some degrees require a little bit more. We manage all of that for you so that you can study on getting top grades and developing leadership skills and getting together with your professors. We manage all the units for you. So that's how that works. I think it's a great opportunity. So with that poll, let's progress to the next slide. So lots of people ask me, do you have sports? So the answer to sports is yes, we do have sports. And the sports are fun. Now, we don't have some very popular sports in India. We do not have cricket. We don't even know what cricket is here. You have to teach us. But we have lots of other sports. And the purpose of the sports program is to keep you engaged in the college in a non-academic manner so that you're well-rounded. So sports are optional, but they're available for everyone who comes. Okay, now, if you happen to be a Division I collegiate capable athlete, we're going to discover that very quickly. And our coaches are trained to know where in the country the Division I scholarship programs are that need exactly your skills, and they're going to get you matched up. So that's another part of the sports program. So sports is two things. It's that Division I match for that elite athlete, and it's also fun and health to make you a well-rounded student. Now let's talk a little bit about off-campus life, because everything isn't on campus. Some things are out in the neighborhood too. And in the United States, there's really three kinds of neighborhoods. There is the rural neighborhood, which is the picture in the top left. You know, there's barns and cows and not very many people. There are schools in rural neighborhoods. And then if you look down below, there's the urban neighborhoods, tall buildings, lots and lots of people, a lot of distractions, a lot of things to do besides homework. And then there's the sort of in the middle, the suburban they call it, and that's the picture on the right. And that's a picture from my community. And in places like that, there's not as many distractions. Remember, the Santa Clarita Valley is a school community. It's designed to make successful students at all levels, starting from kindergarten and working all the way up through university. And so we don't have a lot of distractions. We have fun things to do. There's beautiful hiking, great bike paths for bike riding. There's lots of shopping, movies, restaurants. There's lots of things to do. But it's not that distracting environment from the urban world. And you're not all by yourself like you are in the rural area. So when you choose a school and when you come to College of Canyons, you're going to find yourself in sort of that sweet spot, which is perfect for those first 2 years. After your first 2 years, remember it's 2 plus 2. The plus 2, you can pick one of those two environments depending on what you want to study and what you want your nightlife and weekends to be like. But by the time you move on as a junior, you've got those solid academic skills that you developed at College of the Canyons. So you can handle a little bit of excitement instead of doing your homework. So when you come to College of the Canyons, you're in that sort of that nest of safety and lack of distractions, very academically oriented. It's the perfect environment for the first 2 years. Okay, so next let's talk about in details 4 major benefits of doing College of the Canyons. We're going to talk about that there's no tests. We're going to talk about the tuition. We're going to talk about this work option, which is an interesting thing, which only happens through College of the Canyons and community colleges. And then we're going to talk about this guaranteed transfer. How do you know about that +2 part? How does that 2 + 2 work? Because it's such a different concept. So let's start with the tests that you need to take to come to College of the Canyons, okay? You've heard of all the tests out there. Here's the list of tests that you take at College of the Canyons. That's the whole list. If you are from St. Xavier School, we know everything about your academics. You do not need to take any tests. They're all waived, no tests. I know that's hard to understand and it's hard to believe. And it's like, well, wait a minute, are you a good school? Like, you don't need to show me tests to tell me whether or not you're going to be successful in completing a bachelor's degree in California. I'm going to make you successful when you come to me. So I can take any student and make them successful. You just have to want to do it. You have the ability, you've demonstrated it at your high school. Now all you have to do is take that ability, hone it to the university level and move on. And I don't need a test for that. So the reason I put this slide up with this blank, it's kind of dramatic, is because when I do this presentation, I promise you, at the end, someone will ask, well, what SAT score do I have to come to your school? So it's okay to ask that question. No question is a bad question. Every question is a good question. But everyone knows now there's no test required. All right, moving on. Let's talk about cost, because you can do the first 2 years at any school in the United States. The classes are the same, right? We talked about that. But the cost is not the same. Now, I know you don't have to pay for it, your parents pay for it, but it's still an important part of the family economy. This is a big investment in the family for you to travel to another country, get a US degree, the reason for that is to make your career opportunities blossom. So let's talk about that cost, because College of the Canyons, thanks to the state of California, is one of the lowest cost institutions in the United States. We have lowered the price to the lowest price possible in the state of California. And so there's no reason to charge extra money. We don't need that prestigious high fees. Now, it's easy for me to say that it's really inexpensive at College of the Canyons, but remember, it's 2 plus 2. So the plus 2, you pay those extra fees. Now, the California State University system is excellent for Indian students. They specialize in master's degree programs, and I think every Indian student should get a master's degree. So the California State University system is the least expensive, but they're still more than we are. They're about double. So you're still, when you do the plus 2, you're going to get the opportunity to pay the extra money. So you don't need to pay me the extra money. But if you do the College of the Canyons program, and we're going to talk about something called the 1 plus 1 plus 2. So 2 plus 2, but the 2 is split in half. If you do the 1 plus 1 plus 2, and you figure out all the money, it turns out your master's degree is free. So if you do the 1 plus 1 plus 2, your master's degree is free. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. If there's questions and answers, we'll talk about it. But it's a great opportunity for students from all over India to get a US master's degree and then go back home and get to work. All right, we're going to talk about work here. So the next thing is this work option. So working in the United States is an important part of your academic experience. You need to work both on campus and you need to work off campus at institutions that are utilizing the area of expertise that you want your degree in. That way you learn more about what you're going to be doing when you actually graduate. So if you come to College of the Canyons, you get 2 work periods. If you go straight to a 4-year school, you get 1 work period at the very end. I want you to have that work period in the middle because I think it's very important for you to really understand and believe in the area that you're going to study. So here's what happens. You come, you do 1 year from home in the 1, then it's plus 1, you do 1 year with me, then you do a work period. The work period can be short or long. Then you transfer to the school, and the transfer schools love you doing the work period. They know you're really committed. Then you transfer, and then after the transfer, you get your bachelor's degree and you work again. So you get 2 work periods if you come to College of the Canyons. You do not get that if you just go straight to a 4-year school. So it's a great advantage for international students to be able to do that. All right, we've talked about work. Here's how we get you into the job. We have an entire career center with counseling on careers and internships and all sorts of employee assistance. College of the Canyons supports you in making this work period happen. You don't have to do it by yourself. It's part of our academics. It's part of our programs. So rest assured, you're going to get what you know. Now, the work period is optional. It's not mandatory. Lots of students skip the work period and they go straight to the 4-year school. That's perfectly fine. You can do that if you want, but it's here if you want it. All right, so we've talked about no tests, we've talked about low cost, we've talked about your ability to work. Now let's talk about this 2 plus 2 guaranteed transfer, because what does that really mean? Well, what it really means is that you in California get to go to whatever school you have earned the grades to go to. They don't say no, they say yes. In fact, it turns out They can't wait to get students from College of the Canyons, because College of the Canyons, remember, they've been in a great learning environment. They've got great academic skills development. They're going to succeed no matter what. You know they're going to succeed. And so the schools like UCLA and California State University and Berkeley, they know you're going to be a success. So if you've earned the grades that it takes to get into those schools, then you're going to those schools. Now, let's talk about the grades. Some people are really good at going to school. They get top grades. Some people are not as good, no matter how hard they try. It doesn't mean they're not as smart. It just means that school is not exactly the same as real life. They might do better at real life than they do at school. Well, I can get you into a California State University no matter what. If you're passing, at least passing at College of the Canyons, you're going to bachelor's degree, guaranteed. So rest assured, we will coach you through all of this. We will find the best school for you depending on your skill sets and what you want your degree in and what your budget is. We will find a way to make this work. All right. So with that, we've talked about all four of these things. These are the four benefits. They're pretty clear, but there's still usually lots of questions, and that's good. But now is a time for another UniBrijj poll, so you can try to remember the things that I have covered since the last one. A trick question. I like it.
Afsha, are you there? I guess we can, carry on with the PPT.
Okay, so let's talk about the quick poll answers. Remember, this is in your opinion. And so different people are going to have different values, but remember, all three of those are the right answer. And you get all three when you come to College of the Canyons. So next, let's talk about where are you going to transfer? Let's really kind of do a deep dive into what does this transfer thing mean and where am I going to go? So if you're at College of the Canyons, and you can see that we're here over in the bottom of California, that's a map of California with some of the beautiful features, everything from Mount Shasta down to San Diego. And you're going to be able to transfer to one of 23 California State Universities. That is a guaranteed transfer. You get to go to one of those schools no matter what your grades are, as long as you pass College of the Canyons. All right? Those schools, some of them are very prestigious and have very prestigious programs, and their master's degrees are very prestigious. So if you're going for a master's degree, California State University is an excellent choice. The next is the University of California system. That's the famous system with the famous UCLA and Berkeley in it. Well, there's 9 campuses there that you can go to. The real reason for going to University of California is because you intend to pursue a doctoral degree. So you're going to go to one of those 9 for a doctoral degree. You need to demonstrate academic excellence to qualify for a doctoral degree. So you're going to be really striving to get very, very top grades to get a doctoral degree. And of course, I can transfer you like I've shown you in the other pictures, anywhere in the United States. Lots of private schools, lots of famous schools. If you've got an auntie in Chicago, you can do your +2 in Chicago. So we can get you anywhere you want to go. We just plan for it and you're set. Okay, so that's kind of more like, where can you really go? It's right there. So the next question I get is, there's a lot of students who say, wow, this sounds so prestigious. It sounds academically rigorous. Your classes are the hard classes. You just said they're all hard. So the big question is, can you do it? Well, I have to say, I have yet to find a student who wants to do it, who does not succeed. So I'll give you some examples. And some of these students they're not extraordinary students. They're just committed to being persistent at trying. Darian got accepted to all these UC schools, and he ended up going to UCLA because UCLA is right down the road from College of the Canyons. Jared got accepted to all these schools. He chose Berkeley because Berkeley is one of the most famous schools. They offered it to him, so he said, okay, I'm coming. Dana got accepted all across the country, and lots of our students get accepted all across the country. She chose Berkeley. It's in California. It's one of the best schools there are. And then we've got Mose Park. You know, when Mose came to my school, he barely spoke English. And then he went to UC Berkeley, one of the top schools in the world. Now, is he an extraordinary student? He is a dedicated student who is committed for 2 years to doing his absolute most to accomplish his goal, which is to transfer to any school he wants to, which means he's got top grades and he has lots of choices. John Garzon, great example. He went to Berkeley from College of the Canyons, then he transferred to Harvard Law School, graduated Harvard Law, and now he is in Los Angeles at a prestigious school and a prestigious law firm, and he is going to be an adjunct professor at College of the Canyons. He could teach anywhere in the world. He's a Harvard graduate, but he came back to us to teach because he wants to give back to students. He was not a good high school student. He was a bad high school student. No one knew what his capabilities were because they didn't blossom until he came to College of the Canyons. So College of the Canyons really is this place where you're gonna blossom academically and accomplish all sorts of things you never thought were possible. So let's talk a little bit about the 2+2. All right, this is a picture of a diploma. This diploma does not say College of the Canyons anywhere. This diploma says University of California, and we got approval from Garnet to put this up on there and show it to the whole world. And we now have, for the last 3 years, developed this program called 1+1+2. I talked about it earlier, but really it's you study at home for the first year. Then you come and you study with me for the second year. Then you transfer to university for 2 more years, and then you get your bachelor's degree. So remember, the 1+1+2 is a great way to do a bachelor's degree in the United States, because remember, after your bachelor's degree, you're gonna want that master's degree. So here's kind of a breakdown of where COC students transferred within the last year. Half of them transferred to a University of California. You can see 23% chose California State University, mostly for the master's degrees. And then the other 25% went to various schools, including some Ivy League schools. Now, California has excellent top-notch schools. So students usually stay in California. And that's why we have this strong UC presence in our international students. All right. Now, this is just international students. Lots of students graduate from College of the Canyons that are local students. So this is just what's in front of you. Okay. So that before No, let's do one more slide, and then we'll bring Ernesto in to talk a little bit about his experience, because you're going to hear directly from a student who did it and followed this path, this amazing, unpredictable path to success. So, but the next slide is a key slide. The next slide is, okay, Mr. Tim, I want to go to College of the Canyons. What do I do next? Because you may not be ready to go now. It might be a year, maybe 2 years. We'll see when you're ready. So what do I do next? It's very, very simple. You write me an email. You send the email to this address. You say, I'm ready to go. I want to come. It doesn't, anything you want. What do I do next? I've got a team of people who can't wait to meet you, who will walk you through every step of the very simple process it takes to get into the school and get started on your bachelor's degree. That's all you got to do. Just send that email. I'm ready. All right? And so with that, I think the next thing we really want to do is we want to talk to Ernesto, because Ernesto is a great example, like I said, of following this route of exploration to academic excellence. I'm going to stop showing my screen so we can see Ernesto really well, okay? With everybody? Good.
Thank you, Tim, for your kind words. And Ernesto, definitely we would love to hear your experience. But before that, may I request Ms. Saluja Chand to speak a little bit about the significance of this session for the students, so the students can keep getting motivated, and we keep on getting the questions from the students, because we have started getting the questions. Over to you, Ms. Saluja.
Okay, thank you so much. I just wanted to say a few things. A big thank you to you all for making this possible for us. I just wanted to share a few experiences of mine with community college when I started off with the counseling. When we started off with the counseling 2 years back, we had no idea about community college back in Nepal. It was like we heard it through the students who had come for the counseling, and for him it was like you should not go to the community college because we have a lot of visa issues there, and he was one of the rejected candidates from the community college. So in our mind it was like, when you go to community college you cannot make it, so we did not actually tell or approach children to apply for it, and our children were also not very much in a position to apply for the community college. Then we had few sessions we attended, and like we have one of the students right now, we also got to meet one of the students who had actually done or studied in community college and transferred. So at that point it struck into our mind that we also could actually do it, because we saw the session live and we heard it from this student. And we came back, we had that session in India, and when we came back to Nepal, we tried approaching to our children regarding the community college, but we completely failed in that, because it was like for them, no ma'am, we don't want to go, we have visa issues, our seniors tell us this, we have a lot of issues with that, and then we don't want to take the tension about all those things, about rejections and all. And so it was like for a myth for us. It was very, very difficult. We're trying to approach to the children, because we heard about this 2+2 program, which would be actually good for our students, because we mostly have highly academic students with low income in our country, and especially in our college. They are very good students in studies, but cannot afford very expensive colleges. So for us, it was a good idea to approach with them, but somehow we were failing in that, unless and until we met these two wonderful people and the UniBrijj who got us connected. And Dr. Jai and Tim, I am very thankful to you all, because you changed our perception about community college. Because last conversation we had, as Dr. Jai mentioned, that we are working for the common goal for the betterment of the students, and I think we are one step closer to it. And I think my students will benefit from a lot from it, because they are very much interested in this session. And after this conversation, I actually wanted them to be a part of it, and I'm sure they, like we, two of us, Pragati and I guess my children also, they got to learn a lot. Thank you so much, UniBrijj. And thank you to both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Saluja Chang. It was really wonderful to hear such words from you. And we would definitely like to work for students, for the betterment of the students. We will keep doing the same work. And every time when I have a session with College of Kenyans, it reminds me a phrase: every dark cloud has a silver lining. So whenever a student feels that there is a dark cloud ahead, so College of Kenyans is the silver lining to it.
Yeah, very
So
true.
may I now request Ernesto to please share the experience of community college, the College of Kenyans, with us. Over to you, Ernesto. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Can be a little bit louder if you can. Can you turn
Yes.
up
I
just a
will
little bit?
try to come a little bit. Let me turn up my microphone.
Very
Okay,
good. Excellent.
great. Hi, everybody. So pleased to meet you. My name is Ernesto Ramirez, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about first my background, where I'm coming from, um, then my experience with higher education, specifically in the Southern California region, but now more broadly within the American South. And then I want to hone in and just kind of reflect a little bit upon what I think the benefits are of the community college institution and why they were so effective for a student like me. Earlier, Tim was talking to the effect of some students not necessarily being extraordinary or exceptional, and that was never the case with me. I would be categorized as what you might call a non-traditional student. And in many respects, this has to do with my background, right? So I come from a working class Mexican American family where my parents migrated to the United States. And because of various reasons, school wasn't necessarily of the most pressing importance, at least at the very beginning. My parents always encouraged me. However, given our kind of circumstances, many of my brothers never achieved a higher education. I was the first in my family, out of a family of six. I was the first in my family to pursue higher education, to pursue this kind of opportunity. But in many respects, I was given the kind of time and the opportunity to build these skills as a result of the community college experience. And I want to speak about two things that I learned there that really equipped me to be able to do what I'm doing right now as a PhD student at a Research One university, the University of Florida, where I'm undertaking my dissertation work in political theory. But two primary qualities that I think make an institution like College of the Canyons outstanding, right? First is quality teachers. Teachers at this institution, many of whom have appointments over at various UC institutions, are first and foremost approachable, are down to earth, are look at students coming from these kinds of backgrounds, and they're able to have these personal and intimate relationships with them. Like I, for instance, had and developed with Dr. Jai Cheng Levine, who I'm working for today. And we actually I started out as her student. I was involved in many activities and many student groups on campus, and eventually we developed a relationship. And now we have another more robust relationship, right? But number two, so in addition to these to quality teachers, this institution, there are smaller class sizes, right? Smaller class sizes with many of my colleagues enabled us to have and develop these strong conversations where we can talk and exchange and build friendships and forms of solidarity, right? Not only with the teachers on account of these smaller class sizes, right, but also amongst and amidst one another. So I think these two things, quality teachers, quality instruction, and smaller class sizes, really created the environment for me, a non-traditional student who didn't have any sort of prior experience in terms of familial kind of accumulated knowledge, right? This kind of environment provided me with an opportunity to develop the aptitudes and the skills and the kinds of forms of thinking that enabled me to proceed. I've been and I have experience at first University of California, Irvine, a Research One university. I've experience at a community college, and I've experience at California State University, Northridge, a state school, three different systems that Tim was mentioning earlier. And I have to say, one of the things that makes COC stand out, having had these broad experiences with these other institutions, is precisely those two things that I mentioned earlier. Because when you're at, for instance, a Research One university like UCI, like I was, where I was doing sociology, I didn't have the opportunity to go up and speak to the instructor and have them learn my name and become this and form this kind of familial relationship with them, because there was a 300 or so other students in this lecture hall who on some level made that extraordinarily difficult. And so there was this kind of this patience and this mentorship that I received through various instructors at COC that really enabled me to kind of to get to where I am today, right? As a PhD candidate at a Research One university. I strongly believe that had it not been for the community college experience, I wouldn't have had the kind of the training and the mentorship that enabled me to get to where I am now. And so this is where I'm at. You know, again, furthering and advancing my research and my scholarly work, but I think many of this has to do with what I experienced in and through my participation at community college, but specifically College of the Canyons. I'd be happy to answer any more specific questions. That's generally my broad trajectory in terms of my background, my experience in higher education, and really how I got to be where I am today.
Thank you, Ernesto. It was wonderful to hear your incredible experience with College of the Kenyans and about the individual attention that you have shared. That is really wonderful. So I would like to share that we still have 68 attendees who are listening to each and every word from everyone. So definitely all the students are concentrating a lot and they have already answered the polls very nicely. So let me come up with one more. As the students have already understood about the pedagogy at College of the Kenyans, and definitely they must have experienced, if not experienced, they have heard about the experience of studying in the United States. So let me just come up with one more poll. So students, how many of you have USA as your destination country for higher education? Oh my God, this is unbelievable. 100% said yes. Okay. No, now the voting has increased a little bit. So 75% have voted and 89% are saying yes and 13% are saying no. Okay. Keep voting, keep voting. 87% have voted, 83 are saying yes, a big yes, and 17% no. 80% yes and 20% no. 92% have voted. So out of these 68 students, I believe almost 60 or 58 must have answered the question. So 80% are saying yes and 20% are saying no. And I'm sure that with your convincing power, College of Kenyans will make it 100%. Thank you so much for voting this. Yeah. So now I would like to request Dr. Jai to speak a little bit about College of the Kenyans, and then we would like to start with the questions that have been shared by the students. They have been eagerly waiting for their answers. Over to you, Dr. Jai. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Saluja. It's people like you at your school that actually open-minded. You know, I'm sure UniBrijj will tell you some of the schools that knock on the door. They're saying, "Oh, community college, no, no, we don't want that. Our students can only go to Harvard." You know, most people realize that to get to Harvard for international students, really one of the best ways is to go through the community college system. I just have to say a few words about Ernesto. He was my student. Now, Ernesto, I've known you at least 12 years now. I've seen a student grown. I've been in higher education in the United States for almost 30 years. And as you can probably see from my face, from my accent, I didn't grow up here. I didn't grow up in the United States. I came to the United States when I was 25 years old. I came here for master's degree and a doctoral degree in English, actually, in post-colonial theory. So I was always very, very fascinated by Indian and the culture and the whole post-colonial history, the negative impact on people. So I'm really happy right now just because I know, okay, most students are from Nepal and India because of this wonderful connection. But going back to students, and I think if you look at the world today, and let's kind of go to a little larger context, right? The world today is crazy. You know, you wake up, you know, there's a pandemic, and then there's this U.S. government, there's a tweet from the president about this, and then you have we call ICE, the Immigration and Border Control Agency, says students have to go home. You know, it is in such a confusing time. I think it's educators like Ms. Saluja, Ms. Bakati, who just stay centered, work with universities and colleges that find a very viable pathway for the students. Why is that important? The way the world is called confused and confusing today is because we did not have the foresight of bringing young people to come and study together in the classroom. Imagine Indian students, the brightest of the all cultures when it comes to very higher education. Indian students and Indian culture and Nepalian student Nepalian culture's intelligence with the United States resources. Then you put those students together in the classroom, they will find any kind of viable solution to the world problem. So what I want to emphasize is the reason we're into higher education, like the way we are, like Tim and I, we got up at 6 o'clock in the morning because we want to talk to you. And why is that important? And Ernesto got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Ernesto and I were like 9 hours. We're going to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. We're here because we believe in fostering a better future for all. And the students on the other end, although I cannot see your faces, I hear you. I can sense your eager desire to create a better future for you and your family. For in the subcontinent, in the continent of what we call Asia, right? We value education because we know education is the only way and the best way to go what we call the social mobility. But your mobility not just for you, you want to do it for your family. And that's why students would never give up. International students don't give up. They come to us, they're confused, they don't know what to do. But they stay with the course. Part of the reason I love working with Mr. Tim is students love him, absolutely love him, because he cares. He cares so much. What you will do with any issues, any problems, we will work to our best, days in, day out, to solve the problems. My experience as English professor with students like Ernesto, at the beginning, what do you want to do, Ernesto? Don't know. Ernesto, you need to write better. Okay. Right? Ernesto, how's your math? Not good. Ernesto,
Yeah.
what do you want to study? I don't know. Maybe sociology. The professor is really good, going to take classes. Those are just some it's a very close and intimate relationship that we have at the College Canyons with students like Ernesto and like you who are going to come. The reason that's important is you have on-campus environment. That's what's going to shape who you are into some areas that you will thrive, and then you can solve the world problem. You can win a Nobel Prize winner, become Nobel Prize winner. We know you well because you're persistent. If you dare to make that decision to come to the United States study, like I dare to, I got no money. My family had money. We were so poor. Ms. Saluja talking about your school, your area may not have students with good financial background. My background, we were dirt poor. 7 years old, we came home. My mom said, I don't know if I have rice for you. That's how poor we were. So I didn't come to the United States with scholarship. I didn't come to the United States with a lot of background. My background is so much like Ernesto's. So you have people like me at my college knowing what it's like to be international students. You have people like me who have worked with students like Ernesto and then hundreds of international students on our campus to know what it's like to feel scared, to feel lonely, to feel uncertain at times. But at some of the time, we also know because of intelligence and determination, when you meet a professor who can inspire your passion, we know you will be absolutely nothing but the best on the American soil. So regardless of all the crazy things that you wake up to this morning and all the bad news about the world, about the United States, if you look at the people on this screen, why are Mr. Luja and Pragati stay so late for you? They're not doing this for them. They can go to bed. They can say, oh, that's nice, Nepal, and then Afsha will take care of it. I'm going to go to bed, right? They didn't. People like me and Mr. Tim and Ernesto, we went to bed 2 or 3 o'clock because I know we're still working with each other on the email. We got up at 5, well, I know Tim got up at 4 o'clock. I got up at 6, but we got up. We're here for you. We are not here just because we look nice and pretty. It doesn't matter. We're here because our heart connects with yours for a better future. So when you decide to come to the United States, pick a school. Doesn't matter if it's college or Canada or not. Pick a school that you believe speak to your heart. Because when your heart is right, your brain will get to work. Because you're smart. That's why you're here. That's why you're in front of the screen. Because you want to do something. You want to feel something that's different. If you don't want to come to the United States, no problem. Find something and then go somewhere. We always tell the students, find something, go somewhere. The moment you make that decision, it's going to make a major difference in your life. Now, if you want to come, you cannot come here like I was. I didn't have any money. I don't have a dime. You know, I have to work 3 jobs for 2 years just to save enough money to study in Georgia. And then I pretty much just eat bread and noodles for a good year because that's all the money I have after paying the tuition. So if you cannot come right now, it's okay. That's what Tim was talking about. Online classes can be a very good option for you. Even you do or don't come to College of Canyons, your credits will be transferable to other universities in the United States. And if you don't want to come to the United States to study, that's okay too. Try out a couple of online classes because that will really make you feel, yes, I can do this. Then if you go to England, you want to go to Australia, it's still a very good choice. Our goal today, of course, we would love it when you come to us. I'm not going to lie about it because we want you to come. But the most important thing is make that decision to get out of the couch and then come and go somewhere. If you do that, you will find people who will help you. Ms. Salusha will find the right school for you. And if you come to us, we'll help you find the right major and then transfer to school that's really would maximize your potential. So I know you probably have a lot of questions right now, and then some of the material I know Tim will want to cover, but we have not yet. But I think I always believe interaction is a lot better. So we will answer your questions in the context of the question that you proposed. If anything that we did not cover, we'll be more than happy to answer that and continue the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jay. I think it's time to take up the questions because students have been waiting to get the answers to those questions. So the first question is from Darshana Rajal. Is getting 120 credits before the completion of 4 years possible?
Yes. So students focus on their studies and will manage the credits. And the 4-year program is 120 units. You do not have to go that fast. You can go slower. You can take 5 years to do it if you want. That's perfectly acceptable. And we have lots of students that do it in 3.5 years. So yeah, it's very possible. It's designed for that.
Thank you, Tim. Darshana, I hope you must have got the answer for your question. The next question is from Brihat Thapa. The question is about the visa. So the question is, with the information collected from various Facebook groups, it turns out that the chance of getting a visa severely decreases when a student applies to community college, at least in the case of Embassy of Nepal. Can you clarify more on any information you may have about this?
Yes. So Nepalese students do have trouble getting visas to study in the United States. They're one of the most important parts of getting a visa is the visa interview. It's a very short 2-3 minutes. During that visa interview, the student needs to be able to confidently explain to the visa officer what their plan is. I plan to go to College of the Canyons. I am on the 1+1+2 program. I'm a sophomore. Here's my grades. I'm going to live with this American family so that I can focus on studying. I'm going to transfer to this school, California State University, Northridge. I'm going to pursue this degree, and then I'm going to come back. And what we see frequently with Nepalese students is they go to the visa interview and they want to come to College of the Canyons, and they're very shy. And they really don't know where they're going to live. And they don't know the name of the city, Santa Clarita Valley. And they don't really say College of the Canyons. They say Canyons College. And they don't really know what they want to study. And they act like it's their mom making them do this. And the visa officer is saying, no, this isn't good for you as a person. You're not ready. You're not mature enough. You can't even, if you can't do a 3-minute interview for a visa, you're not going to be able to do calculus in the United States. And so they say no. So the key to the successful visa is the confidence in that interview that this is what you want to do. Now, with that said, and especially this for Pragati, who's guiding the students, applying to College of the Canyons is free. The I-20 you get is free. You don't have to only apply to one school. You can apply to UCLA and you can apply to College of the Canyons. And if UCLA accepts you and you want to go to UCLA and that's really great and your family can afford it and everything, then do the visa interview for UCLA. If you can't, do the visa interview for College of the Canyons with the intention of transferring to UCLA. If UCLA doesn't accept you, you still have College of the Canyons, and then you can transfer to UCLA in 2 years. So you don't have to only apply to one school. Always apply to College of the Canyons, and then apply to other schools as well. If you do a visa interview for College of the Canyons and they say no, sign up for another visa interview for UCLA. If they always say yes to UCLA, then you're in, no problem. Go to UCLA, that's fine. So you don't have to only do community college, but you should try community college, because if it works, think about how much money you're going to save, think about the odds of success going up, and think about the great community that you're going to be in at College of the Canyons, and think about that master's degree, because I really want students focused on that master's degree. That's what they should be aiming for. You can change your mind later, but you should be aiming for it. So that's kind of how the visa process works. We do visa interview practice at College of the Canyons for students. So all of you can sign up and you can do this right here, and I'll be the mean visa officer. And then I'll give you a report back on how well you did. And then you can practice and we can do it again. So it's, you want to make it so that if you don't get the visa, it isn't because you didn't demonstrate a commitment to doing academics in the United States. You want to remove that. They don't give you a visa, they don't give you a visa. You never know why. But just make sure you take that out of the equation.
Can I add one thing? And then I think one element that Tim briefly mentioned is very important is where do you live? And you might not see that as connection. And we have a speaker I want to bring him on to help answer this question, and I think would help tremendously to ease your anxiety a little bit. You come to College of Canyons or you go to anywhere to study outside Nepal, you're going to be worried. Doesn't matter you go to England or doesn't matter you go to Australia, you come to College of Canyons. The moment you get off the airplane, where are you going to go, right? They say you get a visa. Now, before you get a visa interview, what Tim says, if you don't know where you're going to live, if you don't know what the city and the place is, the visa officer is going to say, are you a serious student? I don't even know if you truly want to go there to study. So what Tim had mentioned, we will help you with visa interview. We do a lot of mock interviews. We have students who actually had no idea, of no hope of getting visa, getting rejected a couple of times, and then come and practice us, the third time got their visa. And there are two factors I attribute to it. Two, we practice with them so they know exactly, truthfully, we want them to be truthfully and exactly how to answer the question. Two, very important, they know where they're living. because community college, part of the reason they're not getting visa is community college doesn't have dorms. When they don't have dorms, and then the visa officers look at, you're going to go to community college. We don't know where you're going to live. Are you going to, is everything going to be safe, okay for you? So that's part of the reason we partner with Mr. Andy, and I'll bring him up in just a second. You're going to be on campus 8 hours a day, or maybe 12 if you stay in the library a long time. But the rest of the time, your living environment is as important as your campus environment, because when you have a good campus environment, that's when you can do well with the living environment. And then when you go to that visa interview, you tell the visa officer, this is my homestay mom. This is the address I'm going to stay at. This is where I'm going to live for the coming year or two when I'm at the College of the Canyons. That enhances tremendously your ability to get visa. So with that opportunity, I want to just very quickly bring in Mr. Andy. So just kind of talk about who you are, what you do, and then how you help the students before even they come. And in some ways, that also what I strongly believe attribute to student success getting visa. Andy?
Welcome, Andy, to the session. Thank you so much for taking out time today to explain something about to the student from Nepal about the housing facilities that you provide and you take care of. Over to you, Andy.
I think he's muted. I'm trying to unmute him, but I don't think I can. Can you do that?
Okay, I'll just try.
I think
Okay.
I got it. You good?
Yes.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Andy, and yeah, I provide the housing for international students that wish to study in Santa Clarita. We have quite a unique program. As someone who's traveled the world myself, I'm from England originally, now living here with my family in Santa Clarita. I know what it's like to be that person who doesn't know the next step once you get off the plane, or if you don't speak the language fluently, or if you get, you just don't know where to go once you arrive in a country. So we do provide, the safest of housing here. I do background checks on all the homes, and I make sure that you are safe every step of the way. From the moment you put your application in with me, I match you with housing that best suits your needs and requirements. We can do shared housing if you have another friend you wish to live with. And on the, since we're talking about the visa side of things as well, like Jai was saying, once you go for an interview and you have an actual address of a place you are staying and a contact with the host family, because I will connect you with your agreed host family way before you arrive here. So you can talk, you can ask questions. I will provide you pictures of the homes when I go personally to visit the homes, but if you want any extra pictures, you can talk to the host family, say, what's the bedroom exactly look like, how big's the closet, those sort of things, whatever you're in needed or interested or things like that. But that shows that you have a connection with a home family here. I can also issue you a letter from me on company letterhead that says you have come through an American company and you are staying with an organized housing establishment, and it's a genuine family, and you're going to be staying for 1 semester or a year or 2 years, whatever you're agreed to stay. And all these things emphasize and reinforce your intent to stay in the country, to study, and then go home or go back to your own country, things like that. It's every little thing helps reinforce your commitment to this program. So staying with a host family, not only is it safe, it's secure, we know where you are, the host family can talk to your parents and vice versa whenever they need to. Also, the host families will provide meals. So like we were saying before, if you don't know where to eat or you don't know what to eat or anything like that, the host family will provide breakfast and dinner. So you are guaranteed 2 meals a day. You can go with the host family to the store and point out what you want to eat, what you want to try. They will cook it for you. And if you feel confident or you want to cook your own food, the kitchen's obviously open to you. But the host family could buy the food and then you prepare a meal from your own country. to share your cultures with the host family as well. So it's just these sort of things to make you feel more confident, more comfortable in your home. And like Jay says, you will be spending a lot of time there. You're only in school 8 to 12 hours a day. So the other, 12 to 14 hours, you're going to be at home or exploring Santa Clarita or something like that. So you want a safe environment to be in, and you want to, know that the home is there when you get off the plane. And talking of the plane, me personally and the host family will be at the airport when you arrive. I'll be stood there with a big sign. I'll have a welcome pack with some things for you, sunglasses or a bus card, a phone card, any maps of Santa Clarita, all these sorts of things, just to get you ready to go in Santa Clarita. Because like I say, I've been traveling the world most of my life. I lived in China for a year teaching English. So I know what it's like to be in a country where I didn't speak any of the language and couldn't even read, let alone speak. So it's just good going off my experiences of traveling and being that person. I know how to ease into every situation, and it's just little things that make all the difference. Just so the second you land at the airport, I'll be there, scoop you up. We'll take a selfie together, and I will personally text your parents just so your mom can relax and breathe that you are here and you are safe and I have you. And then we'll go to the home, and then we can take more pictures when you're at the home if you wish, just for peace of mind for the parents. Once you are here and you are settled, there's usually between 2 to 3 weeks between you arriving and the orientation at College of the Canyons, where you can get orientated with the school and meet Dr. J and everyone else. So in that time period, that's where we try and get you as acclimated to Santa Clarita as possible. We need, so where the school is in relation to your home, how to ride the bus, how to travel around, where the mall is, the shops, things like that. So in that time, that's where me or the host or both of us will take you to the bank to open you an American bank account, so you can have money transferred from your parents or things like that, just so your money is safe in the bank. We'll get you a new phone if you wish, or if you have an existing phone, the phone card I provide will help you set all of that up. We also, like I say about the bus, I will provide a free bus pass every month so that you can travel around Santa Clarita. You can explore with your friends or with the host family. And that does help with getting to and from school if you don't want to walk to school, because it can get hot here over the summer. So the bus can be a good option to get to and from school. Also in that time period, that's where we like to get together as often as possible on a non-academic level, purely fun. We'll have like a welcome party or at a local pizza restaurant or something like that, where we invite all the host families, we invite all the students, and we'll get together to just eat pizza and drink soda and just meet more people, because you'll meet people that's in exactly the same position as you, not on their own type of thing, but then you'll meet people, make friends, people from your country, if your classes from other countries. But that all helps break the ice on that first day of orientation. When you get there on orientation, at least you'll know one friendly face, someone you may have just said hey to, but on that first day, it will really help someone to sit next to, just to go through this process together. It's just all about making friends that you may become best friends with throughout this whole process over the whole 2 to 4 year program. And it's all just about making it as easy and as simple as possible. A lot of the hosts through this process, I use the same hosts over and over. We're always inviting new hosts to join, but a lot of the hosts are now friends. So sometimes the host will take 2 or 3 students out that aren't necessarily all living with them to go to Hollywood or the beach or whatever else people want to see and do. So it's just trying to make it like one big family. We'll get you all together. We'll make lots of friends. So you're making friends, school friends, before you even go to school. Other things we do before school starts, we'll have a bowling night. If anyone's interested in attempting bowling, we'll take people there as a non-competitive ice-breaking bowling thing, just for fun. We also have Six Flags Magic Mountain here, which is a large theme park. If you're into roller coasters, I'll gladly take you there if you want to go there, because I'm always just looking for people to go on roller coasters with. So if you want to come with us today, no problem. Again, more ice breaking, more conversation pieces, something to talk about with new friends. So it's things like that. that we try and do before school starts, because I know once school starts, you're going to be into it, you're going to be doing homework and everything else. But that being said, I'm not going to disappear on the first day of school. I'm still going to be here. The host families are still going to be here. If you need anything during that time, I'm just a text message away. Like I said, me, my family, everyone that works for me, we all live here in Santa Clarita. So it's not an email across the country. If you've got a problem, a question, you need help with something, I'm round the corner. I'm 5 minutes away, or someone will come round. So we're always here. And then even again, if you have problems through school, or you don't know who to speak to with classes or anything that's going on at campus, send me a message. I can talk to Dr. J and Tim directly. I'll go to campus on your behalf, get answers, anything like that, and then I can pass that information directly to you. If it's something you're not embarrassed, or you don't know who exactly to speak to, you can always come through me, and I'll find the answers for you. So,
Andy, I'm just going to interrupt you really briefly because I know we have a lot of questions, and then if I love your enthusiasm, I really do. Part of the reason we trust our students with Andy, with 2/3 of the time that they have in the United States, is because, as you can see, how much Andy loves to do what he does, and that's exactly all we are here on the screen. But I know we perhaps have just a little bit of time constraint, and then if we have more questions about a homestay, if you can stay on, great. If not, I know you're an extremely busy person. You have a lot of meetings to go to, and Tim and I would also try to answer all that. But I want to thank you because you make a dire question about visas sounded so much more hopeful. You know, if I were a student, I want to try to get that visa so I can go in and play with Mr. Andy and his family.
That's what I'm here for. Yeah, it's
thank you. Thank
no
you so
problem.
much.
No worries.
Yeah.
I'll stick around.
Thank you so much, Andy, for making the students from a different country like Nepal comfortable with you by pricing them with the facilities that you will be providing them once they will be there at College of the Kenyans, and that too through a virtual meeting. Thank you so much for taking our time. And thank you, Tim and Dr. Jai, for answering the questions regarding visa in a very nice way and a very precise manner. And that I think that is the most important concern what the students have, especially from Nepal. And the option that you had given to the students that it will be like a demo session for them, how they can face a visa consulate. It's incredible. And I think that most of the students will be registering for that, if I'm not wrong. So moving to the next question from Srishti Pokhrel. What is the minimum GPA required for the scholarship?
Good question. So let's talk about the scholarship first. The scholarship is built into the price at College of the Canyons, because remember, it's the least expensive school in the country. So that we already put the scholarship in, so everyone already has a scholarship. You're already paying the least amount. And so because of that, you don't need to apply for a scholarship. Now, with that said, there is a scholarship program at the college. It's designed to recognize you as a student and to connect you with a community member, a business owner, or something like that, so that you can expand your network of people that you know. That happens in the spring, and the GPA requirement for that is 3.0.
Thank you, Tim. Moving to the next question. It is from Manogya Dahal. Most of the students opt to work part-time on campus for covering their accommodation. Could you please explain whether you have on-campus jobs for international students? A very good question.
Yes, very good. When you do come to College of the Canyons, there are on-campus jobs. Now, the jobs, you're not going to make, so your tuition is so low that you don't need to work in order to pay for your housing. So this money that you earn on campus is really you're spending money for the month. You know, it's your pizza money. So that's really what the jobs are. The purpose of the on-campus jobs is to give you the experience of meeting lots of local students so you can make lots of connections. So if you're working at the coffee shop or at the library or the chemistry lab, then you're meeting students, you're talking to those students, and while you're talking to those students, you get that opportunity to kind of exchange maybe phone numbers, get to know each other, and you make that connection.
Thank you, Tim. The next question is again from Manogya Dahel. So it's an extension to the previous question, I would say. Most of the universities in the United States do not provide scholarships for international transfer students. Rather, they are willing to give scholarships to incoming freshman students. So will it be affordable for students to go through this pathway, as the students might not be able to afford their tuition fees for junior and senior years?
You do want to pay attention to the price of things. If you can get a scholarship at a good university for all 4 years, then by all means, and you've been accepted, then by all means, I encourage you to go. The purpose of College of the Canyons and the purpose of our presentation today is to give you an option of one pathway to accomplish a degree in California. Now, we can transfer you anywhere in the United States, but we're very California focused. So if you find a school that's a good school, that's going to make it so your career blossoms when you finish, and they're going to give you a scholarship, then it's really hard to beat free. And so we will even call and ask me, and I'll help you figure out what to do. So the scholarship programs are directly related to the student's needs at the next school. You don't need a scholarship from me. I'm already built in. You need a scholarship at the next school. So if you go to a private university in the Midwest and they charge $40,000 a year for tuition, you're going to need a scholarship, because 40 times 4 is a lot of money. But if you're going to come to California and to go through the California State University system, all of that price is already less than half of that. And so the scholarship is kind of already built in. So do what's best for you. You need to make the best fit for yourself.
Thank
I
you, Tim.
guess Mr. Kapil is raising hand. He has some question. I would request him to type his question in the question box. After you may continue.
Yeah, thank you, Nupur. Kapil, if you want, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. You are self-muted. Kapil, can you hear me? Okay. So moving forward to the questions, I think Tim has already answered even the next part of the question from Manogya, that was regarding the scholarship from universities of California or California State Universities. So I would like to move ahead. The next question is from Akash Shrestha. The question is, can we know number of Nepali students in College of the Canyons?
Yes, really good question. So in the whole college, there's less than a dozen Nepalese students, and there's no Nepalese students on student study visas. So the Nepalese students are people here on different kinds of visas, or they're recently become American citizens, or they have green cards, or they're linked to their parents who are here for work, and they're here on a study visa. So we don't have anybody in our program that's from Nepalese right now. We've had Nepalese students in the past, but we're very excited about having Nepalese students coming pretty soon. And we hope that some of you are those students.
Thank you, Tim. The next question is from Laios Thapalia. I think he has left. But this question was regarding the visa issue that we have already discussed. So I would like to move ahead. The question is from Sharing Sherpa. Would you recommend the 2+2 course or 1+1+2 course? So she wants, I think he or she, I'm sorry, I'm not sure. So the student wants to know about your opinion, Tim. Which course would be preferable for the students? Is it 2+2 or 1+1+2?
I think the 1+1+2 is the best. I think that because of the visa situation right now, maybe you ask me in a few years, but the reason 1+1+2 was developed was because parents said, look, it costs a lot of money and our student is so young Can they do the academics from home where they can get support and then come for 1 year and then transfer? And so we built it for that. So the 1+1+2, I think, is a great program for students.
Thank you. The next question is from Ojasvi. What majors are popular at your college? Do we have majors in communications or journalism?
So yes, journalism and communications are very popular. And we have in California every major you can imagine. So if you want to study Swahili or aviation, or of course communications and journalism, we have that. So we have every major in California. You'll study at College of the Canyons and you'll begin that exploration of that major, and then you'll finish that major at the school that you transfer to.
Thank
If
you.
I may, just very quickly, and you're allowed to change your mind. You come here, you might want to study English, like I was. Everybody questioned, why you study English? I said, I don't know, I just like to read. But some people, may say, I kind of want to test out this, I like business, and they realize, oh, I actually really like computer coding. So in the course of 2 years, you're allowed to change your major. If you remember, there's a picture of the Berkeley diploma. If I don't know if you see the name or not, the student is Dana Chen Levine. That's my daughter. And then you might remember at the end of the slide, Dana was accepted to all the universities in the country. And the reason I mentioned that, of course, I'm proud she's my daughter, but she's unique, but she's not that unique. Ernesto is unique, but he is really not that unique because that's what we do every day. And I want to mention that is because community college allows you to explore truly who you are and what you're interested in. So Dana changed her major 3 times in 2 years at a community college at COC. So even you might think you want to have a major until you actually encounter the coursework at the college level. Sometimes a little bit difficult to truly know that's what you want. If that's what you want, like I always want to study English, good for you, because that's what I did my whole year. I have not done anything else. But if you think this is what you want and you are not 100% sure, again, community college is ideal for you.
Thank you, Dr. Jai. The next question is, I would say it's a brilliant question from Ankita Rijal. So she would like to know the criteria on which you select the students to get admitted to College of the Canyons if there is no test required.
Well, if you complete school at your high school, we know about your high school, and that's good enough for us. That's how we use the criteria, but you have to finish.
Thank you. The next question is from Akriti Karki. I think she was the one who had raised the hand. Can we be able to get scholarship in different universities after we transfer from COC?
Scholarships are common. However, I wouldn't plan on it. So the scholarship is an extra benefit that happens that you can be excited about when you get it. But plan on no scholarships. International students programs, they have very, very limited scholarship programs throughout the United States. So my advice is make sure that you can do it. And that's why I recommend the community college system and then the California State University system, because that combination for the bachelor's degree is the least cost in the nation. It's a really good program.
I would like to kind of add a little bit to that. We want to give you a very realistic picture of what it's like to study in the United States. Of course, we can tell you, oh yeah, no problem, and after you come, you will get a scholarship. I don't want to lie to my future students because that's not true. The reality is scholarships is difficult for international students to get. That's the reality. However, like the silver lining that we talk about, right? Two conditions. One, the major that you study is highly sought after. And because you're from Nepal, United States universities understand the Nepalese, as a society, you have hierarchies. So you have universities that really want to help the country that may have very limited opportunity for his brightest students, those universities may offer scholarship to students from Nepal because they know that's the only way or one of the best ways to encourage that social mobility in Nepal. And Nepalese are deeply committed, if my interaction with my previous students are reflective, you guys are deeply committed to your tradition, to your religion, to your family. You're very patient, you're persistent. And because of that cultural value that you bring to the US campuses, there will be universities who would love and would die to have Nepalese students. But you have to choose a major that is highly sought after by the specific universities. For instance, CSU, California State University of Big Hills, and I believe Mrs. Saluja met Dean Dr. Hamusahi. He is people like me, like us, who's extremely committed to global diversity. We need more Nepalese students to be in the United States to tell them how the world thinks differently than Chinese students, than the students from South Africa, for example, and then even from India students. So I want you to kind of keep that in mind. Paint a realistic picture like what Tim did. Now, the beauty about 2+2, you study 1 year, the best pathway, like what Tim said, 1 year at home, accumulate as many as 30 students, 30 units. Second year, come to COC, one of the lowest cost campuses. And then during that course, we will help you actually seek programs that would prefer to give scholarship to Nepalese students. And I know there are a couple of them. One of our students actually got full scholarship to UC Davis, full ride. We call blue scholarship or some blue and gold scholarship, something like that. Full ride scholarship, international student to go to Davis. And the student's original major was not the one that he transferred to later because he realized what I want to study is this. And if I focus on this one, I have no chance of scholarship. But I focus on this one, I got great opportunity to get scholarship. Like what Tim said, bachelor's degree does not matter as much. It's a master PhD. So your goal is to be offered a scholarship to study at the master's degree or higher. So if you think about what kind of scholarship I want to get a master's degree, you don't want to change who you are. You really don't. You don't want to study that. You don't want to study that something that doesn't inspire you. Okay, find something that inspires you. Find that niche that you'll be able to apply and study well, and then get that scholarship to help you finish your master and possibly for PhD. So think long term. You need to have higher degrees than bachelor's degree. With just that door that you open and walk into that room that have so many choices and will guide you to go into the right places in that room. So when you come out that place, the world is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Jai. The next question is again from Akriti, and she wants to know the cost of staying in such host families.
Good question. So the cost of the host family program includes your own room, usually unless you have a friend you are bringing with you. It includes the food, it's in a safe house, it includes all the internet, all the heat, water, everything's all included, and it runs $1,500 per month.
That's wonderful. The next question is again from Akriti. Akriti is being so inquisitive. That's really wonderful. So what is the percentage of international students present there?
The percentage of international students at the school?
Yes.
Is that the question? 1%.
Okay. The next question is again from Akriti. Is your engineering program ABET accredited? I am amazed to see such kind of questions that they are even aware of the
It's a good
accrediting
question.
bodies.
So the engineering programs are accredited by the Western States Accreditation Program, and the engineering programs at Berkeley and at UCLA, at UC Irvine, and at California State University, which is where you're going to graduate, are all fully accredited. So the accreditation question is a good question, but the real question about accreditation isn't about College of the Canyons accreditation. We're accredited as a transfer school. When you're looking at accreditation for a specialization like engineering, that accreditation belongs to the school that you transfer to. And I promise you, UCLA is fully accredited.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Tim. Moving to the next question from Kapil Dhakal. Can you please explain about pursuing mathematics degree?
Yeah, you study a lot of math. We have a fantastic math program at College of the Canyons. And a master's degree, keep in mind, a math degree is definitely master's degree or doctoral degree. So when you study math, you'll have to figure out what type of math, because there's different types that you end up going into. You'll explore that at my school. Then you'll transfer into your bachelor's degree in a broader area. Then you do a master's degree in a little bit narrow area with a focus in a certain direction. And then you'll do the doctoral degree in the specific mathematics that you're interested in studying.
We have such a unique math department. A couple of our professors, math professors, they are truly what we call star professors. The moment they open the class is full. We have students from UCLA, with students from Berkeley, would really knock on the door because they want to take Mr. Matsumoto's class. He is that well known. We have a formal math department chair who just retired this year, that we sadly see him retire, that he is the person actually, we were students literally would sit outside the classroom and listen to his lecture. And the reason I mention that is, you're not just about the subject matter, regardless if you like math or not. Ernesto, I don't think you like math too much. But you will have professors who would get you through and then actually end up the competence and the confidence to do math. And if we can do that, if you want to study math, you will find a way. Math in terms of career, as you know, big data. Big data is the thing because we're in the internet world. And big data comes from statistics. Big data comes, statistics come from math, and then the ability to think logically. So keep yourself kind of open-minded, because like what we're talking about in conjunction with the scholarship, for example. As you know, American kids are not very good at math. they really are not. So the police students are really good at math. Most Asian students are. So you come here with exceptional ability to do math. You enter either statistics or big data, or perhaps later come to in the field of computer and data analysis. You will have a very bright future here. But again, to reiterate what Tim said, when you have that passion that you come here, we definitely want you to guide you through whatever the program that is best for you. And then if you have an even special niche in that area, our math professors will be able to guide you to that.
Thank you, Dr. Jai. I could see the expressions of Ernesto when we were talking about mathematics. Okay,
Right.
so I'll move forward to the next one, again from Akriti. I think she has done a lot of research about US universities and the community colleges as well. So the question is, does dual degree cost more than pursuing single degree? Many universities provide opportunities to pursue dual degree in same amount as in single degree.
So the way that a dual degree works is that you're transferring school, you will take more classes. Schools, they charge you by the classes. So it is going to cost a little bit more for a dual degree than for a single degree. But there's a big advantage to a dual degree when it comes to moving on to your master's degree program, because that well-roundedness is going to make you an excellent master's degree candidate. As far as the amount of time that it takes, people have done dual degrees in the same amount of time as a single degree, but they take a lot of classes a long time. Now at College of the Canyons, you're still going to do your 60 to 70 units at that transfer. And those 70 units will have a few extra classes to make sure that we align everything for your dual degree. Which dual degree you choose depends on which classes we set you up with. So we'll work all of that out in our counseling sessions when we begin understanding what it is that you want to study and what your ultimate academic goal is.
Thank you, Tim. She has modified this question and she wants to know, can we pursue dual degree, one in STEM major and the other in non-STEM, as one in technology side and next in business or economics?
Yes, you can. As a matter of fact, at California State University Channel Islands, they have a mixture of STEM and non-STEM master's degree. You can get a master's degree in business administration and in biotechnology. And that's because the school recognizes that in that area, the employers, they want that well-roundedness that comes from having both being exposed to both disciplines. And so, yes, you can do both.
Thank you, Tim. I can't see any more question as of now, and I would like to request the students to come up with more questions because this is a golden opportunity to get genuine answers instantly for your questions. So if you have more, you can please come up. You can even raise your hand. We'll unmute you for a second and then you can ask your question audio, through the audio also. Ms. Saluja or Ms. Pragati, would you like to ask any question?
I have no questions. I'm clear, crystal clear with everything with community college, I guess, and the way they get transferred.
That's
Good.
wonderful.
Here with me as well. Yeah.
One more question is there from Manogya Dahil. Thank you, Manogya, for putting up the question. I checked the website of College of Kenya, so that's wonderful. Research work done, homework done already. Good. And what I noticed was that you offer what is known as an associate degree. Is the associate degree the 2-year course or is it different course?
That's a really good question. So if you think of the mission of the California Community College system, there used to be a time years ago where a 2-year degree was very valuable. You could get a job. I think today the bachelor's degree and the master's degree are much more important. So yes, you can do an associate's degree at College of the Canyons in many, many different areas, and then you're done and you go back home. But I think a bachelor's degree is a better way to go. So you don't need to think or worry about the associate's degree if you're going to do a bachelor's degree. You can skip associate's degree. You just take the coursework necessary to get the bachelor's degree. Now, if you want to do the work period in between the 2+2, then you need to complete some sort of academic recognition. An associate's degree or a certificate are the two ways that College of the Canyons do it. So when you first come to us, you tell us what your plan is. What do you think you're going to want to do? You can always change your mind as you go. And if you think it's going to be that you're going to want to do that work period, then we put you on that process for that certificate or that associate's degree so you qualify for the work period. If you think you just want to go straight through all 4 years, then you don't need either a certificate or an associate's degree. The difference between an associate's degree and transferring is sometimes it's exactly the same classes, so you get the associate's degree anyway. Sometimes it just means you pick up 1 or 2 extra classes before you transfer. So if you want that associate's degree, it is available, but really your eye is on the goal of that master's degree. And once you have a master's degree, no one's going to ask you about your associate's degree.
Wonderfully explained, Tim. So the main thing is that your aim should be clear, your goals should be set. If you have a clear-cut goal, then nobody can stop you from getting the degree, right? The next question
Right.
is again from Akriti. She wants to know, I would say that she has really done a lot of research and she's keen to know number of things from you, Tim. She will not leave you unless you will be giving each and every answer to her. So the question
I love
is,
it.
Interesting one.
yeah. So the question is, what does the COC have apart from taking classes and sports? Like, how does it help students, providing platform for making students stand out from other students?
I love
Right.
that
So,
question.
well, first of all, that's a really good question. First of all, you're coming through the College of the Canyons 2+2 system. And so you already automatically stand out in California. Now, with that said, you also want to stand out a little more. There's 3 things that you can do. One is get top grades. Top grades depends on what you want to study. But get all A's. Be an A student. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect A student, but get top grades. That means you come to study for the purpose of being a student. It's like a full-time job. The second thing you do, develop leadership skills. And you want to demonstrate that you developed those leadership skills. And the best way to do that is through the student clubs. That doesn't mean you have to be president. You can if you want. It means you participate in that student club, because the 4-year university that you transfer to, that +2, they understand that concept and that role of what leadership development occurs during the student clubs. The third thing you're going to do is you're going to take the time to get to know your professors. The classes are small class sizes, like Ernesto said. There's not 300 students in this class. There's 20 or 30. The teacher should know you by your name. The way that you do that is you think of engaging things in the topic area to talk to your professor about, so they get to know you and they can tell that you care. You be prepared when you show up for class. You do well on your homework and put the effort in to make it good. And then sometimes you just ask your professor, hey, you ever had any good, Nepalese food around here? I'd like to find a good restaurant. And you engage that conversation so they get to know you, because they're the ones who are going to be writing those letters of recommendation that make you stand out. And those letters of recommendation need to be a personal recommendation. They need to really know you, not just that Tim was in class, Tim got all A's, he asked some good questions. You want a letter that really says, getting to know Tim was a pleasure over this semester. Or maybe the teacher has a project he's working on and you help him with a project. It doesn't take you very long, but it means a lot to the professor. So he might write in there, Tim helped me with a project. What you want is a letter that says by the professor at the end, you would be lucky to have them as a student. That's what you're looking for. So get top grades, demonstrate the development of leadership skills, and get to know your professors. That's how you stand out at College of the Canyons.
On top of that, let's say you have all that. It's all about how you tell your story. Being a Nepalese student, you're very unique in the United States, because currently, we don't have as many Nepalese students as we should, as we would like to have. So when you are ready to transfer, ISP offer month-long workshops. We offer workshops actually will help you tell the best stories possible. I think Ernesto may be able to speak a little bit about this, but he was my student, and I believe I help you in terms of applications and also the essays. We also help our students, and we write recommendation letters for them. So Ernesto, you want to just kind of briefly talk about your experience in applying, and then how you were able to tell your story, and then the choices that you were given.
Sure. Well, after my experience at COC, I was very privileged insofar as I'd cultivated so many deep relationships, and those relationships turned into many kinds of things. But among those were successful letters that enabled me to get into Research One universities. These were things that I would work on intimately with instructors, one of whom was Dr. Jai Cheng Levine. I won't begin to speak and elaborate upon how many of these letters of acceptance she's written for me in the past. But yes, it was exactly as Tim said. It was utilizing, being strategic, and going into office hours, asking questions, being present in class, doing my reading, showing up at the end of the day, and therein establishing these strong relationships. And then that is really the kind of like platform, the foundation to have a solid letter of recommendation, which really makes a vast majority of difference in the broader application structure for the UC. It's not necessarily so for other places, but I think that's really where it begins. It's this kind of like very grassroots effort that people see and demonstrate and witness your skills and your talents and your abilities and your evolution throughout this process, and then have something significant to say about you. That is precisely what my experience was like, and I'm fortunate that I've had this kind of intimate opportunity to develop these relationships that ultimately, again, got me to where I am today. Thank you.
So thank you, Ernesto. So if you think about, if you hear, and I know you have heard, that's why you ask such good questions. One, when at the team's presentation, the clubs are extremely important. So either you are president of the club, or you are secretary of the club, or public relationship of the club, depends on what you want to do. You want to be an engineer, then you probably want to be in a club, in the public relationship, that help people develop something kind of coding to help the club to have a social media campaign. You know, just as an example, Ernesto was very passionate about social justice. He's extremely passionate about environmental issues. He was the president of Students for Sustainability. And that's how well we know our students. I mean, that was what, 12 years ago? John Gerson, the one who went to Harvard, now is a big lawyer at one of the biggest law firms in the country, and now it's just volunteer for us. Dr. J, what do you need? I said, well, you need to help my student. He's a lawyer, so with the new guidelines from the Department of Homeland Security came out, I said, John, take a look at the lawsuit that MIT and Harvard are filing against the U.S. government. Read it, tell me what it says. And he did. Why? Because our goal is to help students reach their potential, whatever the path that they want to go. And then when they get there, we know they'll come back to help us. So you come to us, you want to do something. I said, okay, so I will tap you. I'll tap into the resources that COC and ISV have developed in the past years. And I say, hey, I'm this student from Nepal. I want to make sure that he or she get to the degree that he wants to get into. So what clubs that what you would recommend him to do? You know, should they run for the associate student government? And I will talk, if you want to study political science, we have 2 star professors. Hey, Professor David Andrews, a lawyer himself, who is not the academic president. This student wants to study political science. This student, she wants to go to Berkeley to become political science, like my daughter Dana. Help her. They will help you. So with all this is the resources that, you know, you will be the brightest students, but the brightest students' light will be hampered without resources. The resources is to polish you. Polish to that, so your application, when people read your first paragraph, they will say, I want the student to come. So that's our goal. Our goal is when you apply for any school, I want people to read your application and say, I want the student to come. And then we will write letters for you to such. If you have something for us to write, and we'll teach you how to tell your story. But that's, you know, we will advocate for scholarship for you. And that's a letter I wrote for Ernesto. That's a letter I wrote for John and for so many people. So we not only will write letters advocate for your acceptance, we will write letter to advocate for your scholarship, for the consideration scholarship. But you have to give us something to write about. From being from Nepal, being a collective culture, we know you are being able to come to the United States is because your family put money together. So your future is not about your future. Your future is about the future of your family and your society. We will talk about that. We'll talk about how the things that you do at the College of the Canyons are really not just selfishly for you. And then that also what makes you stand out. But you need to have something for us to write. And then we'll teach you how to do all those things.
Thank you, Dr. Zahid. That's really appreciable. I can see 3 more questions over here on my screen. Let me just check. One of the student, I think Pranav, wants to know about the campuses. Yes, Pranav
So
Shah.
a description of kind of what the campuses are like. What's it like to be on campus? Is that the question?
He just wants you to talk about the campuses of College of Canyons.
Okay, so there's 2 campuses for College of the Canyons, one on either side of the Santa Clarita Valley. One is a small campus located up in the hills with a beautiful view of the hills. And the other one is a larger campus with all the sports facilities, and it's located with a beautiful view of the mountains. And that's kind of why it's called College of the Canyons, is because we can see the canyons from our campus that are all around the Santa Clarita Valley. So the campus has different buildings on them, of course, that you're used to in the Valencia area. And they also have a university center, which is where our local students take their master's degree, bachelor's degree, and doctoral degrees right here on our campus. And then there's a lower part of the campus, which is where all the classrooms are, and all, of course, all the grass areas and where the students hang out, and the student center and things like that. It's a nice place. It's a drier, desert-y environment, but it's not the same as a really, really Sahara desert. It's very green with lots of plants and lots of flowers.
Would you
The
like?
Canyon Country.
Oh, I will let you finish that thought. Sorry, Tim.
The Canyon Country campus is located on the sides of the mountains, and so it's a steep campus with different levels, and it has this beautiful building built that you can sit and study in, and you can look out down the canyon, and it's one of my favorite views. So that's a newer building at the campus. A lot of our buildings are pretty new. They're within the last 20 or 30 years, and so that's the kind of what the outside of the campus looks like. On the inside of the campus, our classrooms are all fully equipped with the latest computer equipment and whiteboards and ability to bring in all kinds of video to make a really robust learning environment. And so we have all the tools necessary for all of that. We also have a lot of classrooms which are dedicated to certain things. So of course we have chemistry lab classrooms and biology lab classrooms and physics. We also have lecture halls, of course. We also have classes which are dedicated to things like illustration or radio and television or journalism, those kind of things, sort of the multimedia kind of things. And we also have classrooms dedicated to dance and to theater because we're close to Hollywood, California. So there's a lot of demand by students to learn more about how theater works and to be able to exercise their dance skills and develop as dancers and as actors. Of course, we have all the areas for sports, and I showed you the sports list. So we have American football, we have soccer, which we call soccer. We have baseball and softball. Of course, there's golf courses in Santa Clarita. So there's golf. We have great tennis courts. So if you happen to want to learn a sport, you can learn a sport here. So being on campus is sort of this environment where it's really designed for studying. We have a great library, which is dedicated for student interaction. Libraries aren't the same as the old days when you had to be very quiet. Our libraries are places to engage with other students. We also have this place called the Learning Center. The Learning Center is free tutoring. It's a beautiful facility. In every subject, international students can take all the tutoring they need for free. And so it's a beautiful campus. It's a great place to study. It's a very Southern California experience.
Should I play the short video to show the students what the campus looks like? Do you think we'll be able to do that? The 2 minutes video?
We can try it. The bandwidth usually doesn't work, but we can try.
Dr. Jai, if you don't mind, can I just read 2 more questions so that
Yes.
questions can be answered first?
Thank
you so much. Thank you. So there is a question from Manogya Dahel. Ms. Saluja and Pragati, I would definitely like to say that your students are very, very keen observants. So the question is, earlier in the session, you showed a certificate from the university. So there is no acknowledgement of the COC, or do you provide a separate certificate? This question has got me worried because there was no acknowledgement of your college in that certificate. Tim and Dr. Jai, you both will have to answer the question, I would say.
I can answer that question. It's a very sad thing. You are going to remember St. Xavier. You're going to remember UniBrijj. And of course, you're going to remember California State University or University of California. But everyone is going to forget College of the Canyons. You're not gonna, there's nothing on your diploma that says anything about College of the Canyons. Your diploma is exactly the same as if you went all 4 years at that school. Yeah, I want you to remember me, and our students, they come back after they graduate and they come have lunch with me. And then they come when they get their first job, they call me from home and say, hey, I got my first job, this is great. But when it really boils down to it, we are only the first 2 years, and they're not the most important years academically. The important years are your master's degree. And so we'll be forgotten. We're not on your diploma. Yeah.
So again, I would like to say that you just need to focus on your ultimate goal. That's it.
Yep.
The next question is from, let me just get the student's name. Okay, we have got more questions. Again, we have got a question from Akriti Karki. What type of classes are you conducting for students currently at this moment where pandemic has hit? Will there be a fully online classes throughout the fall? I'm asking this because of recent rules of F1 visas of students. We really need to consider these things and make decisions. Wonderful question, Akriti.
Yes, I really appreciate the realistic point of view all of you have. These questions are excellent. So the problem with COVID, so Santa Clarita doesn't have very much COVID, so it's not a big deal here, but the visa is still a problem. Getting the visa offices to open to issue the visas is going to be hard. Fortunately, College of the Canyons years ago developed an online program. So you'll do your first year in the 1+1+2. Your first year is going to be distance learning. It's a combination of all sorts of different ways of learning the topics that you need to study. It's a very robust learning environment. We use a computer program called Canvas to do it. It's all web-based, but it's lots of interaction with the other students and with the teachers, and lots of hard work. It's not easy. You're going to do that for the first year. Now, I suspect 1 year from now, when we're sitting here talking, it's going to be a different world. We'll have solved the visa issue, we'll have solved the COVID issue, and students will be back doing what they need to do. And they'll do the 1+1+2. I think it's the best program, and they'll continue doing that. So visa, no visa, you're going to do the 1+1+2. Now, in the past, visas have been easy. So students just did 2+2 because they got the visa. But now when they really realize that they can stay at home, they can study on distance learning the same exact classes, I think that they're finding more and more that the 1+1+2 is the best way to go.
Very well said, Tim. So even I think that 1+1+2 program is the need of the hour, I would say. So it's better to go for 1+1+2. Coming up to the next question from Ankita Rajal. It's kind of same question. What can be the effects on the session due to this ongoing pandemic?
So this semester, our semester begins in August. And so if you're coming this semester, then what you're going to do is you're going to go through our process. Remember, you just send me an email that says, I want to come. And then we start the process from there. We verify that you're from St. Xavier School, and then we just go from there. And you'll meet with a counselor. You'll be all set up with what your first beginning academic plan is going to be. And you'll start taking classes beginning in August. You'll take a full course load, just like as if you were here. And you'll take a lot of exactly the same classes, it's the same teachers, it's the same books, everything. And you'll take all of that starting in August. In December, you'll take your final exams for the first semester, and we'll take a look at what comes next. Maybe you'll take one class in January. Maybe you'll take a break. I think you should take a class in January and stay engaged. Then you'll go to school in spring. Maybe you'll come face to face. Maybe you'll stay there. A lot of that depends on the visa issue. Then after spring, then you'll get your visa. You'll come during the summer, and then in the fall, you'll start taking classes face to face here with me, or maybe you'll take some summer classes from home. There's lots of choices. But the pandemic has interfered with the visa process, but it hasn't interfered with the academic process. You still can pursue your academic dreams. You just need to do the 1 + 1 + 2. The 2 + 2 is not the best anymore. The 1 + 1 + 2, that's the best.
Can I add to, I think TV may have mentioned this, but I want to make sure that students hear it. If you are in your 12th grade and then you are 18 years or older, as long as it's okay with the Miss Salusha, it has to be okay with her or Miss Pagati.
Bragati.
As long as it's okay with the Miss Salusha and the Miss Pagati, if you are 18 years old or older and you want to start pursuing your college learning, you'll be allowed to take a class or two with us online. But I want to make sure it will only be enhancing your current curriculum at your school. So if you tell us, I am 18 and then this is my last semester here at St. Xavier, let me in. We will be, because we want to make sure it's a good partnership, and we want to make sure that you are actually a good candidate being a high school student taking college classes. Even though I know you know, but you still want to make sure that you fulfill all the requirements of currently what you are taking, what you're studying. So if you are currently, say, I haven't graduated yet, but I would like to start, no problem. We will have a very, very close connection and relationship and discussion with your school administration. Make sure that it's okay for you to take the classes.
Nepalese students are, they're patient. All the students we've had, they've been patient. They're also persistent, and they're also insightful. And they find that navigating through the university system in the United States with a little guidance from us is actually pretty easy. And I really appreciate them for that, because they give back to their community and they help other students. And being part of a team, with academic goals, being part of a team is really the way to succeed. And you'll find that the teams form really readily through College of the Canyons.
I really would like to appreciate and would like to congratulate Ms. Saluja and Ms. Pragati, because you have been doing a wonderful job as counselors for your students, because looking at the questions that we are getting from the students, it seems that they are really proactive, and the students can be proactive only when their counselors are proactive. I would really appreciate your jobs that you have been doing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so
You,
much.
thank you. But I think
And
most of the credit goes to our students. They are so enthusiastic. They keep us always on the top of our toes, like we have to keep on doing for them. They're really enthusiastic about things.
that's really wonderful to have such students.
Yeah,
And
it's really.
I would like to say that the option that Dr. Jai and Tim has shared with us, like having demo classes for the visa consulate, that's a wonderful thing. And I think most of the students from Nepal would like to join those kind of classes, so that the fear that they have in their minds or their hearts to face the visa consulate and getting their visa rejected, they can overcome that fear. I think that's a wonderful thing to be done. And as shared by Dr. Jai, to attend classes, maybe 2 classes or 3 sample classes, free classes. So I think that's again a wonderful option that the students can opt for, so that they can have a real-time experience of attending online classes at College of the Kenyans. Yeah. So do we have to share something else, Dr. Jai and Tim?
And it's up to you, because I know we are tapping into a lot of time of our school. So we'll be more than happy to send the links of the videos to the students who already registered for the webinar. We got a lot of videos. If you just, and then follow us on Instagram. If you use Instagram and Facebook, search for College of the Canyons International Services and Programs. The handle that we use from Instagram, if you use Instagram, will be hashtag COC_ISP. So we will send all our information to the students who have registered with us, because I think Ms. Afsha and Nupur, they're really quick and fast. We usually get the report within a day or two. So by Monday, you will get the communication from us with all the links to the videos.
Definitely. I can see one more question from Akriti Karki. The question is, do you have co-op programs for students linked with some really good industries?
Co-op. Oh, good.
Co-op.
The co-op question. Co-ops are really a very modern way of going to school. So Drexel, for example, has a co-op program where you take classes for 6 months and then you work out in industry for 6 months, then you take 6 more months of classes, then you work in industry. Our co-op program is designed similar to that. We have some classes that require a work experience component as part of the class. So you'll work outside of the campus and you'll be assigned at a company as part of that. Also, we have that in between the 2+2, which is the College of the Canyons version of co-op, where you'll work for 2 years or for up to 1 year after your 2 years of study. So our co-op system is designed to make sure that you have experience at a company that utilizes the skills that you're going to develop and be able to demonstrate when you finish your bachelor's degree.
Thank you, Tim. I think we are done with the questions, and we have shared a lot of news about College of the Canyons and whatever options they have for our students. So I think the students have been listening so patiently to each and every conversation. I would like to thank all the students who were there throughout the session, and those who had dropped maybe because of internet problem, and would like to connect with all the students. We'll be sharing the details, and then definitely College of Canyons can be in touch with the students. May I now request Ms. Pragati Karki to speak a little bit about the session, and if she would like to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Pragati.
Yeah, thank you, Afsha. It has really been a very wonderful session today, and it was very interactive, a lot of questions. It was really nice. I really would like to thank, on behalf of St. Xavier's College, to UniBrijj for organizing this session and making this all possible for us. Afsha and Nupur, without you, this would not have really been possible. So, a heartfelt gratitude to you both. I'd also like to express our sincere gratitude to Mr. Tim for clarifying a lot of questions about College of Canyons and also giving an insight about community college. This session was really a first of its kind to our students and to us, so it was really a very wonderful session. Thanks to you a lot. Also moving forward, Dr. Jai, thank you for your motivating words. You've been so kind enough to answer the questions. Mr. Tim and Dr. Jai, you have been patiently answering all the questions. It really means a lot to us and to our students. Thank you so much. A huge thanks to Ernesto for sharing his wonderful experience about College of Canyons. Thank you for letting us know the student perspective while studying in US and also the College of Canyons. Mr. Andy is not here, but then whatever experiences he shared about housing and accommodation, sitting here and imagining it all, it really felt so comfortable, so homely, and I'm sure the students are sharing the same experience with us as well. So it is really very homely and comfortable. Thanks to Andy and the entire College of Canyons team. Also, thanks to Ms. Saluja. I know she's been coordinating with UniBrijj to make this all possible. So I should also thank her for all of this. And also thank you, dear students, for being so patient and asking your questions, getting it all clarified and taking use of this opportunity that you have. It really means a lot. So thank you to everyone for all of this.
Thank you so much, Pragati, for your kind words. And definitely, I would say that it was a wonderful session. I would like to thank all of you to take out time for this lovely session, and especially to the students who had spent almost, I would say, more than 2 hours with us and listening very patiently, asking their questions, getting their answers. So that was really wonderful. And definitely we'll be in touch with the students, and the students who would like to opt for the visa demo classes or sample classes at the College of Kenyans, they are most welcome. And Ms. Saluja and Ms. Pragati, you can coordinate with those students. Yeah. Thank you, Nupur, for being
There's
here with
one
me.
more information. I'm sorry to interrupt. There's one more information which I want to share with students, that this recording of this session will be uploaded on the page of UniBrij's YouTube channel. So you can go over there and like the video, and you can listen again.
That's
And you can
terrific.
turn it on double speed.
Here's talking.
Yeah.
Dr. J's
So,
talking.
so we'll be sharing the link. We'll be sharing the link of our YouTube channel also with Ms. Saluja and Pragati, so that can be shared among the students as well, and they can go there and then can listen to the recorded video. I think there is one more question. I do not want to leave any question unanswered. Okay, so it's a
She's
thanks
just saying
note
thank you.
from Ankita. Thank you, Ankita. So all of you, I would say, Ms. Saluja and Pragati, have a good night. Ernesto, Dr. Jai, Tim, have a good day ahead. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for
Thank
Thank
you
inviting.
you,
so
everyone.
much. Thank you.
Goodbye, Pragati.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye. Take care.
Bye, team. Bye.